I have been in the gym resistance training for over 10 years consistently now. And over the course of that time, you naturally pick up a thing or two, some almost life lessons, if you will. So today I would like to share those with all of you so that hopefully along your journey, you don't have to learn them firsthand like I did. So you can instantly deploy them into your own life, into your own resistance training journey, and hopefully that benefits you moving forward. The first lesson is that your source of motivation must be intrinsically based. There's two types of motivation. There's extrinsic, where it's an outward goal, and then there's intrinsic, where it is an inward motivator, an inward type of goal. So if you are resistance training just for an extrinsic goal, like maybe you have a fitness challenge or you're trying to look a certain way for your Instagram or, a summer body or whatever it may be, an extrinsic motivator is always going to be fleeting because once you reach that goal, then you run out of juice. You don't have any more motivation in the tank because all you're doing it for was that extrinsic goal. Versus if you are motivated for an intrinsic goal, like simply loving the way it makes you feel or loving just the art form, you have passion and drive for it, then that is going to be a lifelong motivator that is going to continue and keep you going for the long haul. So I implore you, I encourage you to find that intrinsic source of motivation that really lights a fire under your butt and keeps you going instead of resorting to extrinsic motivators that will ultimately be fleeting and you're just going to have to continuously find more. The second lesson is that results will not happen overnight. And while it is true that in the beginning of your fitness journey, results do happen a lot quicker because your body essentially hyper responds to a new stimulus, that is not true later on. So while it is quicker in the beginning, it is never actually quick. So the faster that you accept that patience is a virtue and that this is a lifelong endeavor, that fitness needs to just become a part of your lifestyle and that nothing is going to happen overnight, the quicker you will be at peace. Lesson number 3 is that you cannot choose your genetics. Guys, you can't choose your parents. And what I mean by this is everybody, for example, has different muscle bellies. That's the way that your muscles look and insert. Everybody has different fat distribution genetics. Everybody has different sizes, bone frames and limb lengths, which can predispose them to being, stronger and have more advantageous levers in different movement patterns like the squat, bench, and deadlift. Some people put on muscle quicker than others. Some people straight out fat quicker than others. Everybody's genetics are unique and different. So why would you compare yourself to others or wish that you looked a certain way when you can't change that fact? You can only run your own race, if you will. So just focus on yourself. Focus on your strengths, your weaknesses. Play to your strengths. Play to your weaknesses. There's no benefit to wishing that you had different genetics when you're just stuck with the ones that you got. So embrace it and move forward. Lesson number 4 is that comparison is the thief of joy. Comparing yourself too much to others is only going to produce and breed negative thoughts, which will ultimately bring you down to a lower level and just ruin your fitness journey altogether, potentially. And really, you should keep in mind that the photos that you see online of people, they are taking the photos likely with a pump already. They have perfect down lighting. They have probably been peaking to that moment. So they've been, cutting for a while. They're probably haven't eaten in a while. They're probably dehydrated. In other words, all the conditions are perfect to get that perfect shot that they were looking for. So when after you eat a big meal and you're bloated and whatnot, and then you're looking online and you're looking at the photo of the person who planned for this perfect shot, of course that's going to make you feel terrible. So what I'm trying to say is I know it's human nature, but try your best not to compare yourself too much to others, because comparison is the thief of joy. Lesson number 5 is to maintain a healthy relationship with food. Back when I was still in the early days of resistance training and lifting, I tracked literally every single calorie that I put into my body. Now I know that this works great for some people, but when I did it, I found that I would become too obsessive with hitting certain macronutrient percentages throughout the day and hitting a certain amount of protein and a certain amount of total caloric intake throughout the day. It just kind of got to me. And when you are so mathematical and almost robotic with your food consumption, it can really ruin food for you. So what I learned is that wasn't worth sacrificing my relationship with food. So I kind of eventually found a balance between roughly tracking and eating kind of what I wanted. And here's a real lesson for all of you and for myself still. Your food doesn't need to be boring or bland to be good for you. Even some of the most delicious foods are great for you. So you don't have to be eating, the classic chicken, broccoli, and rice for every single meal and not add any teriyaki sauce or, barbecue sauce or whatever, anything like that, any seasonings. You can get creative with it. I have an ice cream blender. I throw protein powder in there. It tastes great. It's healthy, but it's ice cream. So you can really, I implore you guys to find the balance, try and strike the balance between eating healthy, but also enjoying your food so that you don't ruin your relationship with food along the way. Lesson number 6 is that small wins are equal to big ones. Eventually in your fitness journey, progress is going to slow down dramatically. In the beginning, every single win seems to be a big one. You add 20 pounds to your bench press, you gain 5 pounds of muscle, 10 pounds of muscle, but eventually it all slows down a lot. So it's important to learn to accept the small wins just the same way that you accepted the big ones, so that you don't lower your discipline and motivation and eventually just give up entirely. So try and soak up the small wins, because honestly, they're just as impressive, if not more impressive, later on the road than the big ones were earlier on in your lifting journey. Lesson number 7, and likely the most important of all, is to not be too hard on yourself if you make a mistake. Realize that we are all human. We all have emotions and desires. So if you cheat on a meal, for example, if you miss a gym session, for example, if you completely go off the rails and don't work out for a week, it's okay. As long as you get back to it, as long as you keep that internal, intrinsic source of motivation and you know that you're going to get back to it, you know that it's something that you love doing, then why would you be hard on yourself? Remember, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We're not robots. We're not artificial intelligence. There's no point to beat yourself up if you make a mistake, because that's only going to cause emotional problems and physical problems later down the road. So it's important to build the good habits of creating the healthy relationship with yourself in the beginning rather than learning it the hard way later on. So that'll do it. Those are my 7 lessons, core lessons that I have learned and picked up along the way throughout my 10 plus, over a decade years of training in the gym. I hope that you guys really internalize those lessons, and I hope that they speak to you, and most importantly, I hope that it helps you along your fitness journey so that you don't have to learn everything the hard way like I did.